Hey, family. I know I gave you so many questions over the weekend. Enjoy. But today we are here to look at some of the questions that were in and the answers that comes with it. I'm happy to be with you. And from the comments, from the look of things, it looks like people are waiting anxiously. You are waiting anxiously for part two. But before we go on to the part two, today I choose the topic, why Ghana in the prophecy? Now, if you say, why Ghana in the prophecy? That woman, I'd like to know exactly position that a country like Ghana plays in the whole wide world. Whilst we have so many countries in Europe, so many countries in Europe, so many countries in Asia, so many countries in Africa, only Ghana. Why? I know it's not funny, but somehow along the line we'll have to laugh. Anyway, we don't have much time, so let's go straight to the point. Like this house where I'm staying, where the studio is, my small studio is. It's a it's a house. And every standard house have got four walls. You've got the north, you've got the south, you've got the west, and you've got the east. We look at the world as a house, as a normal standard house. Where do we find these four walls? So we see the north to be Europe, we see the south to be Africa, and we see the east to be Asia, and we see the west to be America. These are the four walls of the world. Okay, that forms a house. Okay, now if you enter into a house, there are four things that you see on these four walls. One is history, the other one is philosophy, the other one is religion, and the other one is politics. Why history? If you enter into a room, there are many things that you can see. Behind me, you can see an image that makes it like silence. This particular image has got a history to tell. There are a lot of things that goes with it. It has a story to tell. And that story give the basis of history. And if we look in the world, we must see that the southern part is where the history began, but that's where the foundation is. Why am I saying this? Archaeologists are telling us that the first human being that was created, the bones was found in Africa. Historians are telling us that civilization started in Africa. Religion is telling us that Moses, being the only man that spoke to God, saw God in Africa because he schooled in Africa. He was born in Africa, he schooled in Africa, he grew up in Africa, and did everything in Africa before he left Africa. So if all these things goes down to Africa, then it means that Africa could be identified as the foundation. Now, once we have identified the foundation, let's look to see where we can find or identify philosophy, identify politics, and identify religion. Now, as you come down to the room and you see these images, you see that there is somebody living in that place. Because if there is nobody living in that room, then of course, there wouldn't be anything in the room. The room will be empty. There wouldn't be anything. But once you come in and you see one or two things, you see that, oh, there is a living being in this room. So who is this being? The being that lives in that room has got faith. And from faith, religion is developed. And where did religion came from? It came from the East, where we have Christianity, Muslim, we have Judaism, we have Krishna, we have Hindu, we have other religions. They all came from the East. So now we know where religion came from. Okay. In the same room, once there is a human being living in that room, it means that that human being have got an opinion because he thinks. Why does he think? All the images that are standing there have got a story. And he is the only one that will be able to tell the story which each image represents. So he being the narrator, he is a philosopher because philosophers are made out of the creation of events, the events that happen. Philosophers sit down compare, read between the lines, then create something out of it. So the solution that comes of it, if it is well accepted, then it becomes a well-known philosophy, because out of it, out of that seed came fruit for the people to enjoy. So philosophies came from the north. That's what we have from Greek having. That's what we have in Greek, something like democracy, socialism, communism, all this ism and schism and bosom and bism, they all came down from the north before they spreading out, going out everywhere for the world to see what it's all about. From the east, we have identified philosophy from the north, identified history from the south. Then what is left is politics, which is automatically the western part of the house. Okay. Now, why politics? If we look at America after the Second World War, what have we been hearing? Socialism somehow way fell down. There were some traces that sometimes around, they sound wake up and shake their feathers a little bit for the world to see that they are also there. Somehow along the line, we all know that socialism is already out of the way. Communism is also out of the way. So somewhere along the line, the Americans comes down with that politics. And coming up with the politics, they see that the socialist style of the northern part, which created the philosophy, will not be able to solve the problem because it didn't work. They also see that the communist type of the religious aspect of it will also not solve the problem because they have to do. They didn't know much about what is happening in the South because it was not written. Why it was not written was the Greek people who came down to Africa to come and learn from the history which is written. They came down to Africa to hear the narrators telling them the history. What they heard, they didn't write it the way they heard it. They write it the way they want their people to understand so that they can develop their country. So in that way, they took it that way and they didn't understand certain ingredients because it was missing. And once these ingredients are missing, there is no way you can get those ingredients to add it to what you want to do. So Americans had the ingredients of the socialist style of movement, they had the ingredients of the communist style of movement, but they did not have the style of the African style of governance. So which means that one was missing. So they mixed the two, they put the two together, and out of the two, they created the fourth one, which is politics. Now, the funny thing is, politics is just a word. Then from the word, we break it down to come down to politician. Then from the politician, we break it down to come down to the political parties. Now, the word is politics. So who are the politicians? You, me, are the politicians. Why are we the politicians? Because we think, we feel. And when we put our thinking and our feelings together, we build our opinion. And it is this opinion that makes us to be an individual. And it is this individual that makes us to be automatically. Now, political parties. Political parties comes also down from the people because it is the people that form the political parties. Now, political parties are formed when a group of politicians, that means like-minded people. Like, for instance, if you and I, we agree on an idea and we want to bring the idea into the system, what we do is we go around to look around for people who might also buy into the idea. When we get this group of people, then we ask ourselves, can we present it as an idea for the nation? If we agree to it and we pursue it, then at the end of the day, it becomes a political party by fulfilling all the basic requirements which a political party need to fulfill. If that one are done, if all those ones are done, then we become a political party. You see, so we've got political party politicians and a normal politicians. So politicians are people who do not speak anything about a normal political party's politicians agenda. If that one is clear, I'm sure it's clear from there. So now, if we look at it in that way, and we take a break to sit down and watch it, we will see that at the moment, after the Second World War, as I said before, the Americans brought in their democracy and they started preaching it. So from the past time, we've been following democracy with a capitalist system. So we have identified the four wars. If we identify the four wars, we could see that in regards to the prophecy, there were four kingdoms. So these four wars are the four kingdoms. The first kingdom was the African kingdom. The second kingdom was the Eastern kingdom, where the religion came from. Third kingdom was a philosophy kingdom, where was the Northern kingdom, where philosophy came from. The fourth kingdom is the Western bloc, where democracy is now coming from, politics is now coming from. So we see that we have got all the four wars. So we need these four wars to build one kingdom, which means we need to have what is in the west, what came from the east, what came the kingdom in the north, the kingdom in the west, and the kingdom in the south to build the fifth kingdom. I hope that one is clear. I say four kingdoms has been seen. We have seen the west, we have seen the south, we have seen the north, we have seen the east, and we have seen the west. These are the four kingdoms, meaning the four pillars of the world. So if something is coming down from the north, there's a kingdom there to take care of it. Something now coming from the east, from the west, there's a kingdom there to take care of it. Something now coming down from the east, there's a kingdom there to take care of it. Something coming down from the south, there's a kingdom there to take care of it. But if you watch it, you will see that we know all what happens in these kingdoms. But unfortunately, because history was tempered, the foundation of the house is not known. And you can never build a house without knowing the foundation. Because if, let's say, for instance, your father leaves you a plot of land and there is a foundation on it, but he never left you what is written in the foundation. Maybe the foundation was meant to build a skyscraper, but you choose to build one-story building. I think in this way, you have wasted the foundation. Maybe the foundation was meant to build for maybe about two-story building. But now you're building a skyscraper on top of it. I don't think that house will hold. See, so that means the first thing you need to do is to look for the information in the foundation. If there is nothing laid, then you can think about whether you want to lay a skyscraper foundation or you want to lay a two-story building foundation. That's one that you have the option. But once there is something on it, you need to know either to keep it or to take it away. But you can only know what is written in the foundation. So in Africa, we don't know what happened in the life of this house. Once we don't know the foundation, we don't know what kind of a house to build. So if you look the whole world, there is no country, not even in Europe, where the people will say they are really living happily and they are living in their comfort zone. Not in America, not even in China, nowhere in the world. You will see problems and challenges everywhere. Because there is one house, there is one wall missing, and that wall is Africa. So if that wall is Africa, then it means that we need to go back to history to find out what is in the foundation, what was laid in the foundation. Now, for us to come down to Africa, we see that we've got 54 countries in Africa. But none of these 54 countries whose president, when he was really giving the land from slavery to freedom, linked the independence of that country to the totality of the independence of Africa, the total liberation of Africa. It was only Ghana, and it was only Kwame Nkrumah. So the question is, why did Kwame Nkrumah link Ghana's independence to the total liberation of the African continent, economically and politically? If you start thinking, we've got 54 countries. None of these nations had independence linked with the total liberation of the African continent. Ghana. So why will Kwame Nkrumah link it? Don't you think there was something? Whatever it was, that is why we're coming now to the part 3. And I believe the part 3 will tell us exactly what is in there. Have a nice week, and I'll be back. Thank you very much. Elijah bless.